I could have brainstormed for 5 hours. I would not have come up with the name of Gus Malzahn for the next offensive coordinator's role for Florida State. Maybe I should have, because I put out a hot seat coaches rankings just about a week ago, and I had Gus Malzahn on there. But you don't necessarily think of what has been mostly a successful head coach at a big time level, SEC, Big 12, dropping down to become an offensive coordinator. Now, he didn't get fired. Technically, I don't know if he thought he was about to get fired, or he's going the Chip Kelly route and he's just kind of needing to take a break, or maybe a permanent break from being a head coach, and would rather just coach football and scheme and draw up X's and O's. I don't know.
No, it's funny you say that. The same thing here. For 3 months, we're talking about who could possibly get in here, this or that. And Gus Malzahn never entered my brain. Now, I know he's the head of the snake. I know the go-go offense, the SMU offense. I know all that Mike Norvell's offense, ASU's offense is all predicated on that and his fundamentals and his foundation. It's all off of that. It's the same tree. He's the head of the snake. He gave Mike his first job. Mike gave the Marion his first job, the UNLV offensive coordinator. So it fits perfectly. It should have been one of the first names he thought about. But I think what happened is, I don't think anybody going into the year thought that Gus was going to be on the hot seat or was going to leave. It was just kind of, he's at UCF. He got all this time at Auburn. Why would he leave? They got to give him time to get it right. And I think as it got, all of a sudden, people start putting him on hot seat lists and things of that nature. And it was about 3 weeks ago, I was in a space with Newberg and a couple other guys and was talking to them. And they asked me, they're like, who do you think it could be? Well, man, I said Dan Mullen would be like my first option, but I do not think he'll come at all. And then I named Brendan Marion, of course. It's like, it's everybody's. But then, my take was, I think there's a very good chance, and I would be comfortable with a head coach either getting fired or resigning and pulling a Chip Kelly and coming down. I think that would be really help Mike Norvell as far as letting him have somebody that could just take over the offense and do their thing. And then I forget who said it. It wasn't me that said it, but somebody had just, said somebody like Gus Malzahn. And then all of a sudden it was an epiphany. All that came into my head. Oh my gosh, he's the head of the snake, all this stuff. Literally kind of, whether you like it or not, a lot of people they want to put his head coaching ability against his offensive coordinating ability, which I cannot disagree more. But like, if you're going to bring somebody in to let Mike Norvell spend more time recruiting, pay attention to the minutia, kind of what's going on in all the rooms, look at the defense, et cetera, et cetera. There's nobody better than Gus Malzahn. Like, it's what he does. Like, you could have 100% trust in him. Also, not be a yes man. Like, really, like, if Mike's messing up, I guarantee you Gus Malzahn will speak up. And then kind of in the recruiting thing, anytime you give somebody, even if you bring Marion up from G5, you give somebody a first opportunity, there's always that what if at recruiting at the highest level, at a Florida State, at a Georgia, et cetera. So Gus Malzahn is somebody that checks all the boxes. And kind of when you look at what our biggest issue was, in 5 years into a program, your offensive line is an absolute sieve and your running game is non-existent. You tell me, regardless of win and losses, has there ever been a Gus Malzahn offense that didn't have a good offensive line and run the ball? Top 20 offense. Say what you want about his head coaching ability, and it's the same thing on the defensive end of the ball. One of the best rushing defenses in the league. So, they kind of addressing what they're addressing. Florida State gets elite DBs. Let those guys work. Like what we had this year is a sieve. You could not stop the run. What good does it do to, take away everything deep if they can just run it down your throat? So that's more the direction we're going. And, the same thing back to Malzahn on the offense. You get him, hopefully Herb Hand, his offensive line coordinator, comes in here. And, you fix that rushing attack. And I think Mike Norvell, the blend of him wanting to pass a bit more and some of those concepts that he's evolved into the offense, I think it's a beautiful pairing. Only time will tell. But I think the naysayers and the negativity around, they took play calling from him at UCF. Like, that's ignorant. Like, they don't take play calling because he doesn't know how to call plays. They take play calling because it's taken away from everything else in the program, or everything else in the program is taken away from the concentration of the calling plays. Like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll be pulling my hair out and I'll say, you were right. Just like people were talking about this before this season that fell apart. But I have 100% faith he's going to come in here and be able to concentrate as an OC and do his thing. I mean, he's an elite offensive coordinator. He was such an elite offensive coordinator at Auburn that he wins a national title, and then he's done with Gene Chiswick's bullcrap, goes off to some tiny hole in the wall, and then the next year he's the head coach at Auburn. Like, stuff doesn't happen like that unless you're an elite offensive mind. And then regardless of what happened at Auburn, he ends up getting let go. I mean, dude has almost a 500 record. I think his record's like 430 against Alabama in a period of time when they lost, like all their losses were to Auburn. It's like over 4 or 5 years. So I couldn't be happier. He's had good offenses, even though it hasn't quite worked out at UCF. And even though it didn't work out at UCF, it didn't work out for the reason of the CEO stuff, building the program. His first year there, they won 9 games. So as a change agent, his first year at Auburn, or maybe it was his second year, he gets Cam Newton, wins the national title. His first year as a head coach, he makes it to the national title with Nick Marshall. So, yeah, as a fresh face, turning things around and bringing a fresh group of guys in, I don't think the message gets stale that quick. I think we've got a chance to really turn this around.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch, that's for sure. And then with Tony White on the defensive side, I know that Nebraska was happy to get him, and they had I haven't looked at the defensive rankings for this year recently, but I know last year they had a top 10
They're number
defense in
18.
the country.
Yeah, I think they were like number 11 net last year, or maybe top 10. They were number 18 this year overall, but they had a top 10 rush defense. Both UCF and Nebraska, top 20 offense, top 20 defense. So there's is there any team in the country that has that? I know some have like a 25 and a top 20. There's not many teams that have. If you're top 20 in both, you're a pretty dang good football team. So we'll see how it works out.
Absolutely. Appreciate you being here, the voice of college football, everyone. I want to let you know that Christmas is coming. You didn't need me to tell you that, but since Christmas is coming, shop Amazon. When you do, we've got the Amazon link in the description section of all the videos, and you help us considerably. It's an easy thing to do because it doesn't affect your shopping at all. Same shopping experience, doesn't cost you a penny. You spend $1 at Amazon, we get 3, 4, 5 cents, something like that. Makes a win-win situation. And again, I am telling you, I've sat next to a dozen people and had them go through this link. It instantly recognizes you. It's like you're clicking on your own link. So makes no difference. So appreciate you doing that. We got a book as well. You can look that up on Amazon as well. Disputed National Champions. I won't waste any time telling you about it right this second. It's a good read though. And takes you through the 1990s, but it's not a history book. It fast forwards through what we're going through right now with the 12-team playoff era.